Hi, this project is just based on this butterfly that it was part of a card. I ripped the back part out and I kept the visual, which I usually put certain pieces that I like in a folder, and then I revisit them and want to try doing something similar to it. So this is what we're going to be working on, is this butterfly. And I think one, because it's so beautiful out now, the weather is very spring-like. The fall or the spring colors are out, the pastels, the holiday, the Passover and Easter are coming up, which is very exciting. Spring break. And so we're just going to work on this project. Sorry, my light's a little top heavy. All right, so I'm using a 7x10 piece of mixed media paper, and I am going to need a pencil, a ruler, an eraser, and I think what I'm going to do is use tempera paints for the background and watercolor for my butterfly. I don't think this is going to be done in one class, so I think we're going to break it up into two parts. So what we're going to do is have the paper laying on its side or diagonal or not horizontal, and then we're going to just kind of center the butterfly close to the middle of the paper. And I'm going to use a razor tip Sharpie marker to do to basically do the drawing. And I'm going to kind of find out where the center of my paper is with my finger and then kind of move it upward. And I'm just going to kind of make a guide dot for the area where I'm going to be doing the top of the head in between the antenna of the butterfly. So I'm just going to take a soft curvy line, and you can make like a little loop or a little circle and something similar to that. And then we're just going to draw a small circle for the head, and then we're going to start under that circle and curve out for the top part of the body, and then we're going to kind of curve in and then curve out and taper, kind of like the shape of a flame upside down. Okay, so that's basically the simple outline of the body of our butterfly. But wings can be different. They can be wider, they can be thinner, so it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. This is just giving you kind of a guideline to drawing it. So you're going to do the other curve line going the other side. You want them about the same width, so kind of measure with your eyes, or you can use your ruler. And then we're going to kind of curve down and curve under and go right to that top section of the body. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then curves down and up. And, ideally it would be great to have them look the same on each side, have more symmetry to your butterfly. Now, underneath the wing, kind of like in the middle of that top wing, you're going to come with a short line down and then kind of make a curve. It can have simple kind of wavy lines, and then go right up to the lower middle part of the body, and then try to duplicate the same thing on the other side as best you can. Okay, so that's a good start. So what you're going to do then is kind of clean up any of your pencil lines, and it's good, like I said, to use the Sharpie, because we're going to be getting that wet and we don't want it to bleed onto our frustrating. Sorry. A little top heavy here. Oh, let's see what's happening. Okay. So then we're going to be I don't know why this is now all of a sudden not working. Okay. So then now what we're gonna do is you're gonna go to each side of the paper and draw a straight line that, frustrating, a straight line. I'm just gonna move this to secure it. Okay, there. A straight line on the edges of the paper like you see in this sample. As you see in this sample, so we've got like a border on each side of our butterflies drawing. So now what we're going to be doing is you're going to need a ruler for a straight edge line, and move what you have to. You can measure it to be exact, or you kind of just can look at it and draw your straight line with your pencil going up to the top of the wing and underneath to the bottom of your paper on each side. So do the same thing on the other side where you have roughly about the same amount of space. It doesn't have to be exact at all. So just kind of get it close, and you can always kind of trim the sides of your paper if one side's a little too long than the other side. So kind of problem solve with this piece. Now I'm going to use I got these paints. These are tempera paints that I got. They're part of a and I'm not promoting it by any means, but they're part of the Target brand Mondo Llama. So these are great pastel colors, but if you don't have these colors, like I said, you can use watercolor, which is fine. You can even use marker to do your paintings. So kind of decide what you want for the sides of your paper, and then with a brush, a tiny bit of water so that you can clean your brush or maybe add a little to your paint. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be painting, we're going to be painting the border part of this project. So just kind of lightly paint it. And you can use any combination of colors that you want. I don't recommend that it be like rainbow. I think that would be a little too distracting. I would just pick two colors, the same color in each side, and then a different color completely in the middle behind the butterfly. So kind of just take your color right along the edges, use a brush that's got a nice tip to it, and then just kind of make sure that it's not thick and it's nicely spread out, blended in. Okay, go right to the bottom. And then do the other side. And don't have it too thick. Okay, then it just gets clumpy, and then, if you put your wrist in it, it's gonna be all over the place. Just make it easy. And then do the same color for the other side. You can turn your paper however, which way you want when you're doing this. But the idea is we're just gonna break this space up. And then make sure you have something underneath your painting so that it doesn't get onto your table, your surface. And you can see I'm not adding water to this. It's already liquid, so it's just slightly thicker than watercolor. And I'm going to be using watercolor on my butterfly. Okay, make sure that you don't have any little white patchy areas. You want it to be nice and even. Okay, now make sure that you've got like a nice clean rag. I usually use a rag I just keep rewashing so that it's just less in the waste department. Okay, and then I'm going to choose a color behind my butterfly. So I'm trying to think, what color would I like? Let's see. I think I'm going to do a slightly, oh, if I can get it open. Okay, a slightly different green for this part. I kind of like that idea of keeping it in a same color family, but just kind of switching it up with a different color. Okay. Now, next time I see you with this project, we'll do some interesting detail in the background. Not just leave it plain, but we're going to just kind of add a little bit more to it to kind of emphasize design and texture. And just use the tip of your brush. Now I'm going to go over my my antennae of the butterfly. Now also, before I see you next week, if you get a chance, I'm going to have you get this glitter glue. I got this, I think, at Michael's, but I believe a lot of places, even Target, has some of this kind of glitter glue. If you don't have the glitter glue, that's okay. We could just use glue and a tiny bit of glitter if you have that lying around. I usually prefer to use the glitter glue combination already, so it doesn't get, the particles don't get into your eyes. I'm going to be careful when using it. So now if you don't have this kind of pastel green and this lemon green or limey green that I'm using, then for the pastel, if you have white lying around, you can add the white to create the tint or pastel. And if you have the green and you have a yellow, you can create that lime green color just by adding a little bit of yellow to your green and then mixing that up. So there are ways to get around it and just being creative. Now, if you don't have the glitter, that's okay. Maybe you could use, if you have like a metallic pencil, that might be something that is an option, which is fine too. Try to have as many options as possible. Okay, and almost done with this. Then we're just going to do one coat for our butterfly and then create more detail inside of it. I'm going to make it even. Make sure that you don't have any little white patchy areas. You can always go back in when it's dry, clean it up a little bit with your paint. Okay, and be careful where you put your other hand while you're working. You don't want to put it on the artwork. Sometimes it's hard not to, so that's okay. So now make sure you cap your paint, and then we're going to try watercolor for the butterfly. So I'm going to take these out. Make sure you have clean water when you do your watercolor. This is still pretty clean, so I can still use it. And then what we're going to do is start with the body. So the body is kind of a lightish brown, so you're going to just choose like a lightish brown. And then just paint your body, starting with your head. Make sure that you don't put your wrist in your butterfly background so that it doesn't get all over your clothes, your hand, smear all over your butterfly. Okay, and you can always go back in and darken that if you want it to be slightly darker. And what I'm going to do is then I'm going to move into more of like a kind of a nice kind of a yellowy brown, like a mustard color, and I'm just going to do this top part, and I'm using the tip of my brush okay. All right, and then I'm gonna do the bottom like in a slightly kind of green color right down here. Hold on, let me shut the door. Okay, so I'm doing like a kind of a limey green for the bottom. I may regret doing this color because my background is that color. So you don't have to do your butterfly the same colors that I'm doing it. I'm just trying to give you some leeways to figure out where you're gonna go with from there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a tiny bit of blue to just this part of the butterfly and on the other side. Okay. Remember, each time you switch your color, make sure that you rinse your brush properly. Now I think I'm gonna go into some purple. So whatever you do on one side, do the same on the other side. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna be careful. See, that's bleeding into the other section because it's a little wet. You might wanna take a break in between each color. Or not, but just be careful it's not too wet. Dab it onto your paper towel and that will be good. And then the last part, I think I'm gonna go, what color do I wanna do? Maybe I'm gonna do like an orange. So I'm gonna go in with an orange. Like I said, you don't have to do the same colors that I am. Okay, and as you can see, glide your brush when you're painting. Just use the tip of your brush. If you want the colors to be darker, just add another coat and darken that up. Kind of spread it around. Okay, so we're gonna leave it like this for now. And then we're going to come back and do some imprinting on the background, some detail behind the butterfly, and definitely all of this detail on the butterfly's wings next time I see you. So this is part 1 of the butterfly project. And that's it for now. I hope you have a wonderful spring break, and I will see you when spring break is over. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.